Once upon a time, there were 6 engines living in a shed. One of the engines' name was Edward. The other engines jeered at him because he was old and couldn't be able to go out anymore. "The driver isn't going to choose you again, Edward," they said. "They only want big, strong engines like us." Just then, the driver and fireman came along to start work. They looked at Edward and felt sorry for him. "Would you like to come out today?" they asked. "Oh, yes, please," cried Edward happily. So the 2 men got into Edward's cab and lit the fire and made some steam. Edward was ready to leave the shed. He puffed into the turntable and spun around. It is not sure he pulled some raspberries at the other engines, but was sure they were very cross at being left behind. Edward puffed into the station yard. The coaches saw Edward and pleaded, "Please don't bang us like Thomas and the other engines do," they said. "How dare you?" said Thomas indignantly. "I never bang you." I'm sure the way that Thomas has treated the coaches, they would not like to remember this. So Edward backed onto the coaches very carefully and gently with a nice bump. "I'd like to know how you do this, oldie," growled Thomas. Edward chose to ignore the sulking Thomas and turned his attention to the passengers, his first passengers in quite a long time. They were all happy to see Edward again and got quickly into the coaches. Edward waited patiently for the guard's whistle and its green flag, but it never turned up. "Where is that guard?" asked Edward. He was getting impatient. Just then, the guard ran onto the platform with a green flag in one hand, a whistle in the other, and a sandwich in his mouth. He tried to blow his whistle, realized it was all in vain, just waved the flag, and jumped into the carriage. Edward puffed off happily. Edward had a very busy and good day. He went through old stations, and he met some old friends he knew. He had a really happy day. "I'm going out again tomorrow," he said to the other engines. "What do you think of that?" But he didn't hear what they thought, because he was so tired and happy that he fell asleep at once.